All right, and with that, I think we are ready for our next run, which is Ninja Gaiden Black by rzr360.
Alright, timer will start when I hit proceed on the chapter 1 screen. So in 3, 2, 1, start. Hi everyone.
Good luck, Razor.
Oh, thank you. So, like I said, this is Ninja Gaiden Black, and I am rzr360. So the Ninja Gaiden Black is a 3D. You probably know their works from more recent things like Neo and the recent Ninja Gaiden Master Collection that came out. This game actually first came out in 2005. It was a re-release of a 2004 version of the game, just titled Ninja Gaiden, because the director of the first game was told that it was too easy, so he decided to make a more difficult game. And we have here the hardest game ever made. And the best game ever as well. So if you want to dispute that, I'm sorry, you can't. It's just factual. Ninja Gaiden Black is a 3D action platformer, and I'm going to be doing a lot of things throughout each level to try to fight enemies and kill them as quickly as possible. And there's going to be a lot of moves and a lot of technical things that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to discuss as we go along. And so each room is going, or each area is going to have like these kind of little fights where I have to clear waves of enemies before I can proceed. And they're going to be interchanged here and there. There's going to be a few other areas where I just like run past the enemies. That's going to be most of it. A lot of the speedrun is going to be platforming as opposed to combat, though the game has a bit of both. So there are also puzzles in the game as well that I'm going to be solving as I go. You saw I just picked up an item there called the Fangs of the Samurai. Those are used to unlock the progression for this chapter. Throughout the game, I'm going to be collecting a series of items to do that for each chapter, and then some that are going to be used for the end game as well. I also picked up two other really important items there. One called the Talisman of Rebirth is kind of like a do-over life. You don't get any extra lives in this game, technically. So if my health goes to 0, the Talisman will pop, and I will get full health and full Nimpo, which I'll discuss later. And then the Lives of the Thousand Gods is a health bar increase, which I'm going to use in a menu later as well, just to kind of save menuing. So here's the second fight in this chapter that's required to unlock the door. These white ninjas are stronger than the brown ones, so they take a little bit more to kill, and they also are a bit faster. Nice, getting 3 set up there is pretty cool. Actually, not a bad white ninja room at all. They can be really annoying, and I've lost my talisman to them before. Now this is the first boss fight. He's kind of actually really difficult for not a lot of newer players, so I'm gonna kind of focus on him for a little bit, because the technique is pretty precise. All right, he gave me a really good pattern because he can block randomly, and he can grab you. He can do all sorts of things. He mostly just AFK'd and kept rolling after me, which is exactly what you want from him. So that's perfect RNG for Mirai. He can be a real pain in the butt, and he's kind of like the big learning curve of this game. It's pretty much stated by most veterans that if you can beat Mirai like as a new player, you can beat the game, and that's 100% true. And it kind of holds true for like every difficulty as well, because each difficulty, every boss, and every fight gets more difficult. If you can beat Mirai in that difficulty, you can pretty much beat that difficulty as a whole. It's not going to be easy, but you can do it. So don't be discouraged. If you do want to pick up this game, it is available on Xbox currently. The Master Collection that was released is not this version of the game. It's actually a different version. But it's still a really good option if you want to play on PC or PlayStation. Highly recommend the game. Now, what I just picked up is the Nimpo Scroll Fire Wheels. I'm going to be using that much later, but you'll see I got a little flaming orb underneath my health bar now. That signifies how many Nimpo I have. Now, Nimpo are very strong. They're kind of like a magic in this game, and they give Ryu invulnerability frames, and they do a lot of damage. So I'm going to be using them to either clear out enemy waves or to help kill bosses really fast. So this part I'm just going to be kind of moving through these areas to get past these guys. There was something else about Chapter 1 that's really important, because I'm not going to be using Fire Wheels yet. I'm going to be using another Nimpo. I needed to get 1,000 Essence in Chapter 1 in order to purchase the Nimpo required. When you saw when I killed a lot of those ninjas, they dropped like these yellow orbs. That's Essence. There's actually 3 types. The yellow one is the currency, and that's the one I needed the most. There's also blue and red, which blue is health, and red is actually an additional Nimpo. So I got 1,500 essence, which is plenty. And then I'm going to pick up these items here, which is a health potion and a elixir of the devil way, which is refills my Nimpo. Pick up some arrows because Ayana gave us the bow. And then I'm going to equip the bow, and I'm going to equip Inferno, because I'm going to use them for this fight here. These are the horses. They can be really annoying. I mess this up. As long as I do it right, we'll be okay. So yeah, the first ones you want to kill at the same time so that the next 2 spawn in. So here I use my potion. I use the Lives of the 1,000 Gods, so that's all in one menu. And then I just kind of stand there, launch the Nimpo. I actually missed one. That's okay. Can finish him off with what we call an ultimate technique, which I'll talk about in a little bit as well. So I actually want to pick up these this essence because I do need some more money. Money is important in this this game. Money routes do matter. So I will be trying to pick up some money throughout. This is the second boss. This is Masakato. He can be a real jerk. So this fight is a lot of RNG because Ryu kind of aims randomly. We can manually aim, but he's really slow when he does it, and I can't see the mages. It's actually not giving me too bad of a pattern, other than this mage behind me. Nice. So one of the things that is really scary about that fight is Masakato can actually just decide to block arrows randomly. He didn't block a single arrow, which is really good RNG. So far I'm getting good RNG. There's a lot of RNG in this run. So far so good. First 2 chapters down. And next we're going to be moving on to chapter 3. So something I do want to talk about now is essence and a technique that we'll be using regarding essence. So there's, like I said, there's 3 different types of essence: yellow, blue, and red. The yellow essence will actually charge what we call ultimate techniques. Where there's 2 levels of ultimate techniques. The first charge is called the essence technique, or ET, and the full charge is the UT. Yellow essence will give me an automatic first charge to my ET, so give me that ET right away if I use it when charging that attack. Blue or red will give me an automatic UT. So what I want in these fights is actually, why is it? Okay, that was weird. Normally you can skip that cutscene. But what I want is, from these guys, is I want yellow essence like that. Because I don't want to get the ultimate technique. Why are you... I want to use the first charge because... Oh, and I accidentally messed that up. That's okay. So normally what I would have is I would have the yellow essence and I would pull it into this next fight, but I'll do it in the following fight after this anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. So first fight, we're gonna run to these guys in the back corner. Just gonna try to clear them out as quickly as possible. So you see, give me the yellow essence. I'll use it to clear that guy up. I'm gonna knock this guy on the ground. So 1 ET isn't actually enough to kill the black soldiers. You need 2. So I knock him onto the ground in order to double hit him with the ET. So that automatically kills them. Now, if I kill an enemy with an ET or a UT, they will always drop me a yellow essence. So it's really important that I kill that black soldier with one of those techniques so that I get the right essence. Because if he gives me a blue essence, it'll actually lose me time in this next fight because I won't be doing the right technique. So ETs are the quick slash that you see Ryu do, and UTs are like this big, huge multi-hit combo. They do a lot of damage, and they do have their uses in the run, but in this part, most of these soldiers get killed pretty quickly.
Would now be a good time to sneak in a quick donation?
Yeah.
All right, we have $20 from Moral, who says, choosing Axel. Thanks, Berto, for the hosting, and welcome, Carl. Good to see you here, and good luck, Razor. And Moral towards the Streets of Rage incentive, selecting Axel, which I think means that there's currently a tie going on in that, in the three-way bid war. So be sure to get your donations in. That run is coming up in a couple runs from now.
So we fight all these soldiers because there's actually supposed to be like a little journal that we read to figure out what we're supposed to do. What we need is the ID card, and we need the ID card in order to open this door. Because the electric panel is hidden back here. Now we need to get access to the electric panel in order to shut off the power, because all of the doors are locked and on the ship, and only some of the doors get opened by the ID card. We need all of them open so we can get to the roof. So that's basically what we're doing right now. And I'm just gonna finish these guys up. Pretty easy. Now this part is actually pretty scary, and I am going to go back and grab this money real quick. Because if I fall off the ship, I just automatically die. So you saw that I saved before I came out here. That's because if you die in this game, there's no checkpoints. It's based off your last save. So if you die, you have to start from your last save. So if I hadn't saved and I fell off here, I would have to start from the very beginning of the game. Which would be very unfortunate. So here, we're just going to knock that guy off. He automatically dies when he flies off, just like we would. So we just sent him flying off. Then we use our ninja skills to turn off the power instead of flicking the switch, because we're ninjas. And then we're going to go out and get to the top of the ship. So a couple of the other things that I picked up as I was going was in chapter 2, I picked up an item called the smoke bomb, and I picked up the lunar. I'm going to be using those as well as the fire wheels Nimpo, which I picked up, the very first one I picked up, for the next boss. So I do want to talk about smoke bombs for a second, because they are really, really powerful. They're kind of an underutilized item for a lot of new players as well. But basically what they do is they give Ryu an additional roll, which, I mean, Dark Souls players, y'all know what combat rolls are, right? So it gives you Ryu iframes from the roll, as well as it disorients enemies, so they actually lose aggression essentially on Ryu, so that you can move by them without them like looking at Ryu or trying to attack Ryu. And it's useful on this boss because he has a gun like that shoots lasers, and he'll only shoot if he thinks Ryu is like in a certain spot, like in front of him or behind him or too far away from him. So we want to keep close to him, and we want to use smoke bombs to make him think that we're close to him, so that way he doesn't try to shoot us too much when we're hitting him. So first we jump in, and then I'm going to use my Nimpo to block the first attack, and then I'm going to block the attack. I'm going to use the smoke bomb to roll the grab, and then I'm going to go ahead and actually, I'm going to use the smoke bomb there, so that way he doesn't try to shoot me when he's using this bubble either, because normally he'll like try to go into like this phase where he like shoots you a bunch while he's doing that, but it's really annoying All you can really do is move around, and you gotta have a lot of distance from him. So by using the smoke bomb there, then I get to stay close to him. So that's a pretty decent Dynamo, which is the third boss's name. So now we're coming up onto the 4th chapter. So this is the area known as Tehran, or this is actually the crux or the center of the game. Basically, the story so far is Ryu was training in chapter 1 with Mirai, and he's part of the Hayabusa clan, which protects the Dark Dragon Blade and the Dragon Sword. Ryu wields the Dragon Sword as the current de facto leader, I guess, of the Hayabusa clan while his dad's away. And the Dark Dragon Blade gets stolen from his clan. So Ryu is on a mission to get the Dark Dragon Blade back, as well as get revenge on all the people that were killed in his village. So that's Ryu's whole mission right now. Is he's on a revenge streak, and he's on a mission to honor his family and his legacy, and pretty much his whole like purpose, I guess. So he tracks the Dark Dragon Blade to being stolen by a guy named Doku, who's actually a greater fiend who works for the Emperor of the Holy Vigor Empire, which this is its capital city. So we are trying to infiltrate the city to find Doku and find the Dark Dragon Blade. Actually, I'm gonna wait on that because I messed up. That's okay. So we're gonna try to find Doku, get the Dark Dragon Blade back, and pretty much kill anyone who gets in our way because Ryu's a bloodthirsty monster. Yeah, and take down that fight, and we're going to do a little bit of movement through this next part. So you'll notice that a lot of the times when I'm moving around, I'll do roll jumping. That's actually the fastest form of movement if it's flat. There's 2 other kind of forms of movement. There's normal running, and then there's on landing jumps, which I will also go into a little bit more detail later. There's also what I did just there, which is the bird flip, which is where you see me like go in between 2 walls and flip between the 2 to get up, and then wall running. So that's a big part of this game, is the platforming. I'm going to be doing that a lot to solve a lot of the puzzles that are in the later parts of the game, but I'm also going to be doing some things that are not so quite intended. So you can actually do attacks in air with projectiles and with your weapons, and doing them in a certain way gets you either more height or more distance, and so we're going to use that to our advantage. Actually want to get hit by that guy. Thank you. Show you guys in a second why I did that. So now we're going to come to Masakato. Not Masakato. Muramasa. And we're going to upgrade our Dragon Sword. So upgrading is huge. We do it actually there to get the ticket to the party so that we can go to Han's bar. Because that's where our lead is currently for Doku. Alright. So we have to get back to Han's bar now that we have the ticket to the party, so that we can see if we can get what we're looking for here. But what actually ends up happening is the bar gets under attack by a fiend. They're called Galas. They're like little red dinosaur fiends. And the Gala gets easily demolished by Rachel, who is a fiend hunter, and we see her for like a few seconds because we skipped that cutscene. And she's another major character in the game. She's kind of a companion. She's got her own thing going on. She's also looking for Doku, but for her own reasons. So we meet her. She tells us about the monastery that we need to go to next, and so that's where we're gonna head. So we're gonna traverse throughout Tehran some more as we get over there. So this would actually be a decent time for some donations, if there's any.
We actually don't have any donations currently, but Twitch chat can definitely help with that. Just a reminder, we do have some great incentives opened right now. It looks like there is a tie for which character is going to be chosen in the Streets of Rage between Axel and Adam. So please get those donations in if you want to change up the run a little bit. And we also have an incentive for the Blood Level 4 run of Bloodborne, where the runners will have to fight Ludwig without using a buff. That is going to be amazing to see, and maybe a little painful, so if you want to see them all in pain, get those donations in.
Yeah, it sounds like the Bloodborne thing sounds really cool. So I actually use the smoke bombs here to disorient those ninjas. So normally I can't open this gate or activate this lever if I have an enemy nearby, and those ninjas will follow me through this tunnel. But by using the smoke bomb, I keep them a far enough distance away. If I move quick enough, I can get to the gate before they catch up to me and can open it and hit the lever to bring the drawbridge down. So that's actually a really tight maneuver to do. You gotta have really good movement to get that down, so it's pretty awesome to get that. So we're moving through the second part of the city. We didn't have access to this area before because it was behind a locked gate, and we got the key at the top of Hans Bar. And then we bring the drawbridge down to get to the second wing, essentially, so that we can make our way over to the monastery, since the monastery is over on this side. There is a gate, and it is locked, so we do gotta find a way to get through the gate, but some soldiers are gonna try to stop us. So here, I'm actually going to... I don't want to do that yet. Here I'm going to swap to the dragon sword and shurikens, because I'm going to use those in an upcoming fight. So here, these guys, just easily dispatch them with the first two by hitting them into the wall, and then the second two with the dragon sword using the essence from the first two for my ETs. So next, I'm going to be moving on to the side entrance to the monastery in hopes of finding another way to get in. This is the inner clearing. And more soldiers attack me. So I just want to kill two as quickly as possible because I'm actually going to get attacked by those fiends that we saw earlier, the dinosaurs. So what we want to do is we want to use the Inferno Nimpo and then just do an XY, XXY. Or XY, XY. And that will be enough to kill them. And then I'm going to use my Great Devil Elixir, which actually gives me more Nimpo than a normal potion will. Gives me up to 5. But I only have 2, so it gives me a full amount. And so that I can finish off those and then have the next Nimpo for the boss fight, which is Hydrocubus, or the big tentacle monster as we call him. So this fight, what I want to do is I want to knock down these tentacles, and then as soon as they're down, I can actually hit the main body. And how I'm going to do this, I'm going to do XY, XXX, and then a UT, and then wait for his tentacles to respawn. He gave me a bad pattern. You can actually cut them both off, but sometimes he slaps you around a bit like this in the air. Not very polite. I gotta actually be really careful here. And down. So, Hydrocubus is down. So in the cutscene, he actually swallows Rachel, and then when you beat him, he spits her back out. We don't see that, but it's really cool cutscene. I highly recommend watching it. So we also get to look at the back of the character, which we haven't seen before either, which is Gamov. He plays a very minor role in the story. Not too much to talk about there. But now we get to the monastery. So this is one of my favorite chapters. It is also one of the hardest chapters in the run. There's a lot to this chapter. It's really long. There's a lot of fights. The boss fight is pretty cool. And it's yeah, it'll be fun. It's got some of the hardest segments in the run as well for movement. This chapter and the following chapter. So we'll pick up some items along the way that we need, and we'll try to get through it as painlessly as possible. So hopefully we keep our fingers crossed and we get good patterns from the enemies and the platform. So the rumor that we heard from Rachel is that there's actually a secret underground passage to the palace of the Vigor Emperor, which is where Doku would be. So that's where we're trying to find him at, is that palace. And so we're going to be looking for something underground here. Now, the first fight in here, we fight what are called the Monk Fiends, and then we fight these guys which are called Imps. The Imps can be really annoying. They can dodge my attacks and just be overall like hard to hit. So what I like to do is I like to just block and wait for them to hit me so that I can counter them, which is when I do that little spin jump slash. And then when they're on the ground, I do a move where I stab down called the Fiend Seal. That's pretty much the technique I like to utilize for them. They are too, like, they don't have a lot of health, so they'll die in like very few hits, but they can move around a lot, which is really annoying. So here we don't have to fight any of these guys, but sometimes Ryu doesn't like to go through doors. So something I should mention as well is the interact button for opening doors or picking up items is the same as the light attack button. It's X. So sometimes when enemies are nearby, Ryu will, instead of opting to open the door or pick up the item I want, he'll just decide to attack an enemy instead, which is always really fun when he does what I don't want him to do. So here we have another fight. This one is a little bit more tricky. It's a little bit more of an open space, so it's harder to do the fire wheel strat I did in the first fight, because the enemies spread out a lot more. So you get to see like why these monks are really annoying. Oh, why these imps are really annoying too. Yeah, you can see that multi-hit combo is the UT that I mentioned earlier as well. That's I'm okay with doing it here because sometimes I can actually hit more than one enemy. And there we go. So we have this timer on the top left of our screen. It's called the Karma timer, and it shows our score. It also shows the time in the fight, and it also shows our number of kills. That's how I know how many enemies I have left to kill in that fight. So there's always 9 enemies there. The enemy spawns are always set, so I'll always know how many I need to kill, and I use that to kind of gauge what I need, so that I kill that 9th enemy, and then I go pick up the statue. The reason I do that is actually so that I can move during the cutscene where it shows the door. So I was actually able to get closer to the door than I normally would have been able to, because I was able to track how many kills I have. So there's little tricks like that you kind of pick up as you go along. So here, this is where on-landing jumps become really useful. You can see that I'm like landing on these spike fall traps, and I'm just like jumping past them. That's because, so Ryu has iframes whenever he jumps. Normally he has a recovery as well whenever he lands, but by timing a jump with right when his feet touch the ground, I can actually jump again right away to extend the iframes, or add new iframes on as soon as he jumps. So it avoids traps like that. It also avoids some enemy attacks. I'm actually going to save here, because if I fall at the wrong spot there, if I fall to the left like a little too much, you just die. There's a death plane there, so that's fun. And I don't want to do that, because then I'd have to go back to chapter 3, which is actually quite a distance away, about 15 minutes ago, so don't want to do that again. So now we're going to try to follow this underground trail as far as we can go. Like I said, we're looking for the entrance to the palace of the Holy Vigor Emperor. We got more enemies. We don't actually have to kill any of these enemies, but we do for money. Like I said, the yellow essence is money. When they're passive like that, though, it's kind of hard to get money from them. Where's the door? Alright, there it is. So yeah, I wasn't able to kill all of them. That's okay. Not that big a deal. We pick up the Vigorian flails. These are actually my favorite weapon in the game. They're really, really cool. They got a like awesome moveset. We don't use them too much in the run. They used to have a bigger part, but we really only use them in this chapter. But yeah, they're really cool, and I'll get to show off like what makes them so cool in a little bit. So here, these are just like wasp fiends. We just want to wait for a second and use our Nimpo to clear them out. And then next we're going to come into the zombies fight. So I'm going to start off this fight by shooting an Inferno to kill 2 of the zombies there. Then I'm going to come over here and kill this zombie. Then I'm going to use the ultimate technique from the flails. So the really cool thing about the flails is the last like 3 hits of the ultimate technique will actually just one-shot these zombies. So that's why we use it in this room, because it's got a long like animation. It does a lot of damage, and yeah, it one-shots these guys. So what I want to try to do is I want to try to kill 2 of them at the same time, because like I said before, ultimate techniques have 2 charges in this game. So the yellow essence will only give me 1 charge. So I need 2 yellow essence to get a full charge. And so that's what I want to make sure that I get, so that I can kill 2 of them right away. Single charge is not enough to kill the zombies. I did pick up some extra essence there for some money, and then we're going to move on. I am leaving 1 essence behind so that I can do an essence pull technique up here in a little bit. So here, more zombies will spawn, and these guys are required to get killed. So because halfway up, the button is going to reset. So I'm going to kill the first one with an ultimate technique. I'm going to wait until the next one spawns, and then I'm going to Nimpo to try to kill 2 of them. So I got the 2. So the button respawns, and then I kind of just like push that guy away from the button so that Ryu doesn't target him. And then this is totally unnecessary. I just do this for a little bit extra money. Since the elevator is going all the way up anyways, we got time. So this next part is actually really difficult platforming as well. There's going to be more zombies, and the archer zombies can go full sniper mode and just like hit you out of the air like crazy. So there's a little bit RNG. We do have somewhat of an AI manipulation that we do on them, but it's still pretty random because the zombies can kind of just do whatever they want. Pretty screwy. But basically, what I'm waiting for is I'm waiting for them to get ready to shoot. I can tell when they're about to shoot because they'll pull their arms back on the bow. And I want to release the block button at the right time so that they're shooting right as I'm jumping. That way they're shooting during my iframes. Because they'll rarely ever will they try to shoot at you when you're blocking. Just what I meant by RNG. So as long as I'm holding the block button, they theoretically are less likely to shoot at me. So we use that for the AI manipulation. Now we come up, we place the chalice that we got down below, and we have the Bone Dragon, who I affectionately call Dino Wolnir, because much like Wolnir, you kind of just break his arms, so, and then he goes away. So that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to break his arms and send him down to the pit. So we're going to do the XXY with the flails, and then the XYY to kick whenever he does these like bone launch attack like that. That way we can dodge it. If he ever tail whips us like that, that's time waste because I can't hit them. Are you kidding? Yeah, nice tail whips. Cool. 3 down. The last one, which is gonna bring the tail back over, and we're gonna just finish this off. One hit. There's one hit left on that last limb. And that's Bone Dragon down. So there's this cutscene where he falls and he cracks a hole in the wall at the bottom. So we got to go back down again. So we're going up and down, up and down, up and down. Trying to find our way to Doku. So this is another really good chapter in this run. It has one of my favorite boss fights and one of the most infamous boss fights in the game. This is where we meet Alma. So remember when we met Rachel earlier? Well, Rachel has a sister. Rachel's sister's name is Alma, and Alma is the reason that Rachel is hunting Doku. You see, Doku turned Alma into a greater fiend, and well, Rachel's kind of sad about that because she finds out that the only way to cure the fiend curse from a human is actually if they die. So Rachel's kind of sad because now she has to kill her sister, essentially, to free her from the fiend curse. So it's very sad. But we're gonna have our little run-in with Alma in this chapter. But first, we're going to talk to Muramasa real quick, and I don't actually need any incendiaries, which is good. I like to have at least 7 for this part, but 11's a good amount. I'm actually going to save here, just as a little safety. Now, this is some of the more difficult platforming in the game right here. These are the red and blue rooms. So first I'm going to clear off these zombies. Now, I upgraded my dragon sword and I got level 3. With that, I get a really powerful attack called the Gleaming Blade, which is this attack right here. It is like this little spin move. It does a ton of damage to enemies, and it's going to be kind of like our bread and butter attack for whenever we have the opportunity to have an enemy where they're just staying there. We kind of want to do that so that we can hit them with it a bunch, and yeah, it does a ton of damage. So it's the whole reason why we actually upgrade our sword to level 3 there. So next is the we actually did this room unintended. We jumped up to that platform. There's actually supposed to be a puzzle, but this room we're actually going to do mostly intended. There's actually supposed to be these little traps up at the top that you're supposed to shoot with the bow after killing these zombies. But instead, we're just going to do a similar thing. We need to kill all 3 zombies, so we kill the first one up there, and then we just jump up here. This one is a little bit harder to jump up than the red room. You can see that I was holding block, so the zombie was waiting to shoot at me. So then I released block right as it jumped. And so that's red room down. So after red room, we get this door open. Now we had to jump down to this pit because there's a bridge at the top. If we walked across it, that bridge would break. So you have to come down anyway. So we just jumped down so that we could progress. I'm going to pick up these items real quick, which is another elixir of the devil way, as well as a great spirit elixir, which is a full health heal. And then we have our favorite boss fight. This is Hydrocubus. We see him again. Everyone loves Hydrocubus. So here we get our Gleaming Blade. This time, with fire wheels, and it just does a ton of damage. You can see this time, after the first round of tentacles, he's pretty much already almost dead. And so we just have to clear up the rest of the tentacles, and that's Hydrocubus down. So that spawns the little pillar that comes up there so that we can get to the top on the other side. I'm going to pick up the... ooh, I got a red essence. That's actually really lucky, getting that red essence there. Which means I don't have to use an elixir of the devil way, because I need 4 Nimpo for the next fight. So I'm going to swap my Nimpo to Inferno. and then make our way up to the top here. I'm going to pick up another item which is going to become very useful later in the run. It's called the Jewel of Demon Seal. I'll mention that when it becomes relevant. But for now, we just got to move past these zombies. You see, they like to just shoot sometimes like crazy. They can go from anywhere from like the derpiest aim ever to like the most skilled sharpshooter. So there's a little puzzle in here. If I step onto the floor, the platform in the middle goes up, and so you can't actually get to it unless you reset the room. So there, I just want to go across to that smaller platform, which goes down, brings me to the bigger platform's level, so I can pick up the statue and the key. Now, the statue that I picked up earlier and that statue that I picked up just now, those are both late game progression items. They're going to be used to get to the final area in the game. And then I also picked up the skull key, which gives me access to the door right there, but it also gives me access to another door. So it's another little piece of progression. And we actually already passed by that door. What's really cool about this game is the map is goes around on itself a lot. So similar to like Dark Souls 1, it revisits a lot of areas, and you can kind of go around, and as you progress in the game, it opens up. It's almost like a Metroidvania in that way, but not really. I don't like to relate it to that anyway. But yeah, so we clear up those spider ninjas so that the door unlocks, and then we triggered the boss fight. So this is Alma. She can be a real pain in the butt. She's she can just dodge our attacks. So what we want to do is knock her down. I want to do XY, XXY while in the air, and then try to Inferno her. This gives us the best chance to do what we call the Alma loop. And hopefully she gives me a good pattern. Nice. So perfect fight. So she can actually still just dodge the Nimpo. That's just the best chance that we have to manipulating her. So she gave me a really good fight there. Sometimes she can just fly around, dodge her attacks, and she's a real pain in the butt. She can be a real time waster if she decides to. Master Ninja rank. Nice. Doesn't really mean much in the speed run, but that's okay. So now Tehran is under alert. The military forces have been activated, so we have to deal with that issue because they are looking for Ryu. And so they're going to be a real thorn in our side. So we're going to try to deal with them as best we can in this chapter and the next. So this first part, I'm just going to cast Inferno. And I'm going to Gleaming Blade these guys. Finish that guy off and collect the money and then run. And we're just going to move away. So we spawn camp in this game. I know spawn camping, if you're a Call of Duty player, you're probably cringing. But yeah, we spawn camp. We know where they're coming, so we're going to get there. We're going to kill them quickly. So we've actually gone through these areas before. That this time it's daytime. And like I said, the military is under alert, so there are a few changes. One thing that I don't like is what they did is someone raised the drawbridge. I don't know why they would raise this drawbridge. I mean, maybe they had a ship come by. It's really annoying. I lowered it earlier so that I could travel, and then someone raised it again. Really inconsiderate. I wish I could just travel back and forth freely, but you know, you have to raise the bridge again. Rude. So something I should mention about this door too is... Oh, sorry. Did you have something?
Oh, I was just going to say that it kind of sounds like trusty old Patches.
Oh. Yeah, Patches always raising and lowering stuff to keep you down. No, but something I should mention about that door. There are enemies that spawn in that area, but I keep my camera off of them on purpose because if an enemy has a ranged attack and they're at a distance from Ryu, if they're off camera, they won't shoot at Ryu or anything like that. So it's a safe way to move around a lot of the time. So here I want to get to these guys. So Normally, it's 3 arrows to kill these guys. Sometimes you get the famous 2 arrows, and very rarely you get 4 arrows. For some reason, they have like random health. Interesting. But this helicopter is always 4 arrows. Oh, and I'm not. Okay. It's fine. Didn't pay attention to the count. Okay. Well, I missed the helicopter. Now I'm in a kind of a scary spot, so I just gotta wait for it to fly off. Because it's just gonna continue to shoot at me like that. And watch Ryu deflect bullets. And there goes the helicopter. That's our helicopter girlfriend. She's really clingy. We're gonna see her again. Oh, actually, I haven't done that in a while, so I almost forgot. There's actually a another window up here. It looks really pretty. It's different from the rest of these windows. It's got like this blue border. We're just gonna look at it for a little bit. It's really nice to look at. Oh, hey, look, there's an enemy. So we killed him. We equipped the smoke bombs because as soon as I go through this door, there's going to be more soldiers. These soldiers are a pain in the keister. So smoke bomb because that guy tried to stab me. Did not like that. I'm actually going to... I don't need it. So we come up to this like little apartment complex where we shot that soldier from the window. And we pick up the strong bow, which is like the regular bow, but strong. So we give Ayane's bow up to get the better one. And then we're going to shoot out this window and hit the button so that we can open the gate. And this leads to the military base. It seems kind of interesting to me that their security system is to have like this tower that raises up in the daytime so that you can shoot the button with an arrow. I mean, I don't know. I'm not an expert on these things. I don't get it, but it's an interesting security measure they take. So
yeah,
like,
it definitely seems like kind of a security flaw there.
Yeah. Like Tehran, like they hate ninjas. Like that's why while I was on the ship, they had this like huge military force that came attack me. That's why they mobilized like every soldier that they have to deal with Ryu. Like they hate ninjas, right? But like their city seems really well set up for like a ninja to move around in. And maybe that's why they hate ninjas so much, is because they're like, yeah, we realize, hey, we're not that secure if a ninja attacks us. And what do you know? That's exactly what happens. So I guess they should have planned for ninjas better.
That definitely makes sense. Do I have time to read a couple donations?
Oh yeah.
Sure, we have $5 from Gala, who says, "Good luck, Razor. You are doing great. Less than 3."
Oh, thanks, Gala.
And we also have $50 from Sweet Matter. Sweet Matter didn't leave a comment, but just want everyone to know that that $50 can supply a home water filter so that children can spend their days in school and not spend them walking several miles to fetch water. So thank you so much, Sweet Matter, and thank you so much, Gala.
Yeah, supporting a great cause. So this is actually one of the few skips that we do have in the run. This is the train depot skip, the warehouse skip. What I'm trying to do is try to get to this platform. Normally you're supposed to turn on the power and like these platforms like move, but if I jump in a way with clever platforming to gain distance and height using shurikens and Y, I can actually just circumvent that part altogether, just like that. First try. If I do turn on the power, then it spawns all of these drones, which are a really annoying enemy. Shoot lasers at you. We don't want to deal with them, so we just take them out like that. Or we just jump up here like that and avoid it altogether. And we come up here because we need a key card so that we can open the shutter gate, as we are locked in here. So one of the things I did pick up were some explosive arrows for the strongbow. These are pretty cool. They're arrows that explode after you shoot them, and they hit something, they'll go kaboom. The normal bow takes like 3 to 4 arrows for these soldiers. The strongbow takes 2 arrows. The explosive bow, the explosion arrows, only take 1. So we're gonna be fighting a wave of these soldiers, and I'm just gonna be standing here shooting arrows at them because it one-shots them. Now, something that's interesting is if I just stand here, it kind of borks these guys' AI. They just kind of like run at me instead of attacking me. And they look at me the whole time, so it's not like they don't know I'm here. They just like look at Ryu and they're like, hey, you're over there, but since you're not moving, we don't want to attack you. Which is pretty cool. So you just stand in one spot, shoot them as they come in, and get through it pretty easily. Now, this next part, I want to keep at least 1 explosive arrow, which is what I did, because I'm gonna have to fight a tank. Tanks are a mean like group. They do not play very nicely. But one thing that I have that the tanks do not have is this box. So you see this tank tried to shoot at me, but it hit the box because I have a box. So much like Snake in Metal Gear Solid, the box is my friend. And if the box isn't in a spot where it can help me, I can just jump over the explosions anyway. So this one, I want to cast Inferno to dodge the first shot. And I want to try to hit the tank in such a way that I kill the gunner as well. Sometimes the box is a scam. It'll look like the tank will actually shoot the box, but it'll actually shoot behind it. So we just jump in those situations just to be safe. And lo and behold, he was actually going to shoot me. So here I am going to use one of my Great Spirit Elixirs because I do have another fight coming up, and I'm going to pick this one up to replenish. And we're going to go up this elevator. There's going to be a couple soldiers here, and then we're going to meet an old friend of ours. I almost got the 2-arrow kill on these guys. They lined up perfectly, but then they split up. So our helicopter girlfriend is back, so we're just going to shoot her with these APFSD arrows that we picked up when we were fighting the tank. These are armor-piercing arrows. They're basically supposed to be like tank shells, I guess. How I can shoot them through a bow, I don't know. Don't ask, but we can, so... Oh. And then we're going to use our trusty old box to dodge the helicopter's rockets again. Just like with the tank. And then finish up the... Oh, missed a couple. That's okay. Alright, there we go. Helicopter is down. Our bow was strong enough. So I'm going to pick up some more explosive arrows, and I'm actually going to heal up a little bit, and I'm going to equip the explosive arrows for this next part. So here we have this tower. This is the communication tower. This is actually one of the reasons why we came here. We need to take out this tower to kind of disrupt the enemy communications, so they have a much harder time to track Ryu. So we're going to shoot at the satellite pieces. Now there's some soldiers that are shooting at me. They can shoot at me, or they can throw grenades while I'm doing this. I don't want them to throw grenades because you saw what happened. Ryu got exploded and then gets knocked out of shooting the bow. I don't want that to happen, but it happened. It's RNG. It's yeah, it's just one of those things that you kind of roll with. So here we have more enemies, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to wall run as long as I possibly can, and then jump at the end so that I get right to the door. If you don't do that, those enemies with the rocket launchers, they'll shoot you, and they'll just blast you into that corner, and they can just keep you there. Very sad way to die or lose a talisman. So there we go down this elevator to go through this door that we're going to go back through again to go back up the elevator. For some reason, the first set of soldiers that we encountered didn't have a key card. Though the door down there, there's another door that requires a key card. But when we come back up here, after we find out about that key card, these soldiers all of a sudden do have a key card. I'm just going to pick up their health just to be safe, pick up the elixir the devil way. But yeah, so we get the key card from them by just shooting them with Inferno and killing them all at the same time. Pretty nice way to use our Nimpo this chapter. That's one of the like most efficient uses that we have so far. Like we just try to use our Nimpo whenever like we can kill like more than one enemy with them essentially. So we get through the door now that we have the key card, we activate the train, and there's this huge cutscene where the train starts moving, breaks through the wall, Ryu hitches a ride on top, crashes into another probably commuter train. We don't really know. There could have been a lot of pedestrians. Ryu just, like, you know, kills a bunch of people. He doesn't bat an eye. Just moves on with his life. It's all in the name of revenge. He's cold-blooded. So this part is kind of like a loading screen, actually. So if there's any other announcements you want to make, this would be a really good time.
All right, that sounds great. Just want to remind everyone that we have once again partnered with the talented John Devlin, who has provided us with the amazing Priscilla artwork for our merch. And you can purchase his art at devlinart.storeenvy.com. And also make sure to check out his Twitter at JohnDevlinArt, where you can find more of his incredible work. And speaking of merch, we have a merch store. You can get there at www.designbyhumans.com/shop/SaveTheChildren. And if you like t-shirts, if you like stickers, do you like hoodies or mouse pads, art prints, mugs? Well, buddy, I got good news for you. We got them all. So you can definitely go and check that out.
Oh, nice. I actually saw the artwork for the Priscilla shirt, and it looks awesome.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I love it so much. I'm going to have to buy one of, like, everything. And
Yeah.
the important thing is that all of the merch, all proceeds are going to Save the Children.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You can't afford to not get this merch.
I can't pick between the shirt or the hoodie. I want both.
Yeah, I feel like that's the way that I always am as well. I might get both.
So this is another longer chapter in the run. There's going to be a lot of like puzzle solving in this chapter, a lot of platforming, moving around. There's also 2 mini boss fights as well as the main boss fight in this chapter. So there's going to be a lot of moving throughout. So the first part is I have to come down here to pick up the bug key, and then I got to go back up because there's another door over here, which has the bug lock on it. And this is going to be the very first mini boss. These are the electric worms. Now, if you didn't rage quit at Alma, you probably rage quit at these guys on your first playthrough because they are annoying. So what we do though is we use our ultimate technique to get invincibility frames in order to dodge when he does the like little slam sweep attack and do damage to him right as he lands. And what's really cool is right there is I got what's called a double hit on the ET as well, which kills him using the ET, which, like I said earlier, when you kill an enemy with an ET, they drop yellow essence guaranteed. But what I didn't mention is if you kill them with an ET, they actually have a multiplier added to how much essence they drop. So that worm is normally worth 500 essence, which is a lot for a single enemy. If I kill him with an ET, I get 3 times that amount, so 1500. And if I kill them with a UT, I get 7 times that amount. So when I'm going for money is why I really want to kill enemies with the UT as opposed to normally as well. So we get the red tablet after we kill him. We also get a Nimpo from the worm. If you saw it, it might have been too quick, but it's called Inazuma. It is by far the most powerful Nimpo in the game. It is ridiculously strong. Kills a lot of enemies. We also picked up another Spirit of the Devil way. Or not Spirit of the Devil, Spirit of the Devil. Which is the Nimpo increasing item that I used earlier. I'm gonna hold on to it because I'm gonna have one big menu right before the boss fight in this chapter. So we go after we put the red tablet in. It drains the water into the Hall of Balance, which is moves that there's like this like statue in there to one side. So we need to even that statue out. So by draining the water, we also gain access to that room where we get the statue that lets us open this door. So you can see how it like all interconnects and comes around to each other. So we need to get access to this door because we need another tablet to drain more water, and it's actually down here. So we're gonna come down this way and do a little psychedelic move with Ryu down the tunnel. And this is where we'll have another mini boss fight. If you thought one worm was bad, then get ready for two. But pretty much the same technique for the double worms as for the single. Except I kind of got to be a little bit more conscious about what attacks they give me. They can attack me at the same time as well. It's rare, but it happens. So yeah, what I'm going to try to do is try to charge an ET. Wait for the slam. I do not want to get hit by that attack where they slide out like that. That's a grab attack. It deals a lot of damage. And has a really long animation. Oh, this is the grab. That's not very nice. He waited till like I was in recovery. That's the thing about like enemies in this game. They're very punishing because they're actually really smart. They pay attention to what moves you do with Ryu and will react accordingly. Which you can use to your advantage as a player as well, because you can manipulate a lot of the enemy's AI. So nice. I killed the worm with an ET. That gives me more money, which I really, really want because I just spent a lot drinking those potions. So more money for me is really good. I like it. So I'm gonna pick up this potion here to make up for it. So we're pick up another elixir of the devil way for more Nimpo uses. We're trying to also build up a inventory of items for the end game. The last bit of the game is like this big gauntlet, so we're gonna need a lot of items to get through it. So that's kind of what we're preparing for as well as we go through. So a lot of this is setting up for like each chapter, the boss fights that are coming up, but also for the end game. We always keep the end game in mind. Like I want to make sure I keep track of how many devil elixirs I have or how many I've used throughout the run, and how many I can buy at the end, because it's gonna determine how I kind of tackle the final gauntlet. So it's very like well thought out and calculated how we do all of these like little actions, and the run has actually been like really developed a lot over the years. It's actually transformed quite a bit. We've had in the last like year and a half or 2 years, I would say, we've had some developments with like boss strategies and some new finds. We did have one thing that we thought was a really cool out of bounds skip that ended up not working because it also soft locked the game, which I was really sad about. But there's been a lot of people added into the game. It is still pretty small of a community, I would say, overall, but it's definitely is a game deserving of a large one. It's a great game. Okay, perfect. So I'm full on the elixir of the devil ways. So here we place the blue tablet, drain the water down, and so the cutscene showed that the water drained into the other side of the statue in the Hall of Balance. So now there's this back door to the hall that was closed. It is now open. So we come to this area here, and there's like this button. We want to press the button, but we have to have a certain amount of height. So we just jump up here, press the button. We're gonna ignore all of these enemies. This is actually what's called a fiend challenge. There's 60 enemies here that you'd have to kill to complete the challenge to get a little reward. It's not necessary at all, so I'm just gonna pass on by that. I ain't got time to kill 60 enemies. So this big, huge, giant room is definitely not ominous or, you know, indicating anything going on here. We're just gonna make our way around it, you know, normal, big room, nothing to see here. Just bringing platforms down, doing ninja things as we go, you know. So I'm gonna do a quick menu here. I'm gonna equip incendiaries. I'm gonna equip a lunar, which I upgraded just a little bit ago. And then I'm also going to use the Jewel of the Demon Seal to upgrade my Inazuma to level 2. Like I said before, Inazuma is a really powerful Nimbo. Okay, Ryu, you can stop doing that. So we want it to be level 2 to kill a lot of enemies later. That's also like a tiny little skip you can get over there. Normally you're supposed to go around and jump across the branch. So we call it the tree branch skip. I'm going to save here for no particular reason, and then we're just going to come back down to this main room. So I got the Brand of Valor, which looks like a weapon. It's actually not a weapon. It goes into this little seal on the floor. It looks like a sword. I wish it were a weapon, though. That would be cool. And hey, look, there's a boss fight. So this is Pazu, or I like to call him Pazuzu, because I'm cool like that. But basically what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to stun Pazuzu like this, and then hit him in the head for a lot of damage. So I'm going to try to throw these shurikens. Why aren't you aiming at his head, you silly goose? Ryu doesn't like to aim properly sometimes. That's okay. But yeah, we just knock him around on the head a little bit, and he goes down pretty quick. So yeah, chapter 10, another one of the longer chapters. This next chapter is also all pretty long, but it doesn't have a lot happening. So for some reason, in like the late 90s, early 2000s, action games all felt like that they had to do this thing where they have water levels in their games. I don't know why they do that or who thought it was a good idea. They're historically the worst chapters, and like this is no exception to this game. Although this is the best game ever made, this chapter is perfect in every way. There's not a lot going on, so if there's anything that comes through that wants to be mentioned, feel free to do so. But yeah, it's I'm just gonna be swimming pretty much the whole time.
Okay, sounds good. No donations at this time, but I did want to say that obviously this is a part of the Speed Souls community, which is a fantastic community. And if you're interested in learning some Soulsborne runs, definitely check out our Discord. You can use the !Discord chat command to just get a link right to that. And yeah.
Yeah, Speed Souls is awesome. I've been in that community since I really started streaming and speedrunning. Yeah, Dark Souls 3 was my first, I would say my first real speedrun that I've done, that I put really any time into. I love that game too, by the way. It's also one of the best games ever. Yeah. I've got multiple best games ever. If anyone knows me, they would know that.
I was gonna say, it sounds like you only play the best games ever.
Yeah, it's all I exclusively play. If I ever play like a game, like a new game or whatever, it's because it's the best new game ever.
Yeah, I mean that's a good way to live.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, who has time for not good games, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Couldn't be me playing not good games.
But yeah, Speed Souls community is really nice, really awesome, really helpful if you guys have any questions. Oh, where am I going? I almost did something that I don't Okay, so this part, you'll see kind of me swim a little bit more frantically. You see on the left, now that I'm underwater, that I have like a very obvious O2 bar. I want to call that out because if that goes to 0, my health starts to drain very fast. As I mentioned before, Talismans of Rebirth, like if your health goes to 0, you'll come back with like full health and full info and everything. Well, if you drown, it's considered a hazard death. Like a hazard death, like if I jump off the ship or if I jump down the pit earlier, I just automatically die. That's the same here. I'll just die with no respawn, no Talisman of Rebirth, and have to go back to my last save. So I want to keep an eye on my health through here and make sure that I drink my fluids as I'm underwater so that I don't die to drowning. Yeah, so we just pop a drink right there, and yeah, good. Actually, also
Kind of
gonna
reminds
swap.
me of the stamina management in the Souls games, except you know, the stakes are much higher.
Yeah, you really got to pay attention to your bar. There's no stamina in this game. That's like, yeah, that would be the closest representative of it. So I'm gonna Inazuma those guys because they drop a lot of blue orbs, and then we get our full health back. So then I collected 2 medallions while I was going through. Like, I didn't just go down that corridor for no reason. It opens the next area so that I can progress in this chapter. So we'll move back through the tunnels and we're gonna swim some more swimming. Now this is technically another skip in this game. There's an intended mechanic where you're supposed to pick up what is called the oxygen tank. The oxygen tank gives you indefinite air underwater, but it takes about a minute and a half to pick up. So we're just not gonna do that, and instead we're gonna do what we call the deep dive. There's a big swimming segment coming up ahead where I have to go through this entire segment with almost no air. I'm going to come up for air one more time right here, and then we're going to start the deep dive. Now for this part, once my oxygen hits 0, I have to pay attention to both where Ryu is and my health bar, so that if I get caught on too many things, then Ryu doesn't move forward enough. And like the timing and like the distance on this is pretty precise. So I do need a little bit of focus once my O2 tank goes down. So I will probably stay quiet for that part. Okay, so my health's gonna start draining now. Yep. All right, we made it through. That part is actually really stressful.
That seems very immersive because I feel like I was holding my breath the whole time. I'm like on the edge of my seat.
Yeah,
That was great work.
Yeah, you have to wait for your health to go like low enough so that, because if you start healing too soon, then you won't have enough heals to get through it. So this is Doku actually. So this is actually a big like climactic part of the story. This is the guy who attacked your village, killed a bunch of your friends, stole your charge for like the whole reason your family exists. And yeah, we bring out our big beat stick and we just beat him up. This is actually one of the things that we just found recently. There's a really safe way to fight him and a really fast way to fight him, where we just jump over all of his attacks using the lunar. It used to be we used Gleaming Blade with the Dragon Sword, but that's a really, really scary way to fight him because he can hit you while you do it. And it was a way that you would often lose your Talisman of Rebirth here. Yeah, not very fun. So here we're going to do some clever platforming. There's actually a puzzle here. Oh, I don't have any... That's why I don't have any shurikens. But we're actually just going to not do the puzzle. Normally you're supposed to like hit these levers and go like all the way around, but we're just not going to do that. Instead, we're just going to jump to the platform using our shurikens and to get height. Hit the final lever, which raises the platform on the other side, and move on from there. So that's one of my favorite skips in the game as well. Just because that puzzle is really annoying, and I'm really glad I didn't have to memorize the solution to it. So here in this chapter, this is also another really long chapter. There's a lot of movement throughout. There's also a lot of great spirit elixirs, which is really nice because I used up a lot of them to do that swim. So having a chapter like immediately after where we can just replenish is super comfy. So here we're gonna use the lunar to break that wall, switch back to the dragon sword because we're gonna do some movement tech with it coming up. So here we go through like this little water tunnel down this icy slip and slide into the ice cavern. This chapter does have also like a lot of really cool movement. This is another favorite of mine. Pretty much everything in this game is my favorite, if I'm being honest. I have a lot of favorites. But yeah. There's like these little ice things. We break them with the sword. We oh, go away, stupid imp. We come up here to break more ice, and then there's a little like a little pentagon thing here called the Shield of Vigor. That's one of the keys in this chapter. There's 2 keys in this chapter. If you notice, there's actually kind of a theme a lot of the times. Like, there's usually 2 of whatever you need to do. Like red or blue, gold or silver, like this pentagon, and then there's a cog. What I did right there was actually a skip. Pretty cool skip, too. It's not free because like Ryu kind of has like this weird movement, but yeah, I'm actually kind of like surprised I got it there. But so we just come across there. There's another skip over those steam vents. Normally you're supposed to like saddle on the wall. We just jump across using shurikens. So yeah, there's a lot of skips in this chapter, like a lot of little mini like micro skips that we do, which just kind of like add up over the course of the this chapter. So a lot of the movement here is really tight and really difficult. This is one of the most skill intensive parts. Okay. And Ryu loves the lava as well, so there we go. And that's another skip. Ryu loves the lava, so any chance he gets, he's gonna jump into the lava. So we've got to fight with Ryu about that.
Ryu is lucky that you are a skill-intensive gamer, so...
Yeah, so he's actually upset because he wants to go into the lava, so he kind of is mad.
Oh, right, it's kind of like when your cat is trying to get into something that they're not allowed to get into. Yeah,
exactly. It's like, you know, you're not supposed to be getting in that. It's not good for you to get in that, even though you want to get into it. You know, you really shouldn't. So this is actually intended lava. We're going to do another skip right there where we just jump across instead of having to go all the way around. Pretty nice. And, so we got to make our way back. And again, Ryu just loving to get into that lava. So here we're going to go back up here, but we're going to go left this time because now that we've sent some molten iron through it, kind of there used to be like these ice pillars up here. They all melted away. Actually, I didn't want to pick that up. I wanted to save. It's okay. I'm going to save right here. Break this ice. I'm going to go ahead and equip the lunar because we're going to have a mini boss fight. This is Jotunfrau. So Jotunfrau is pretty cool. Sometimes she can just like AFK here. That's what I want her to do. She didn't do it for very long, but she gave me a good attack. Got a bad follow-up. It's alright. So she hits really hard, but she's really slow. And then she can do this, which is these ice slams. She's invulnerable while she's doing like the first bit of it. So we just want to move around, but we just jump over most of her attacks, and she goes down pretty quickly to the lunar. So that was a pretty decent Jotunfrau. Like a lot of people like be like, wait, that's a she. It is definitely a she. Her name is Jotunfrau, which is German for like snow woman or something like that, I think. So that's, I tried to go for the skip again, and like the geometry there is kind of weird. Or geometry, like the terrain, I guess. It just like looks really weird, so it's kind of hard to tell what angle you get. And it's not really like worth like trying to do a whole setup for it either. It only saves like a second. So next we come through here. I'm gonna go ahead and heal up again because I'm gonna save one more time. There's a lot in this chapter that does a lot of damage, and normally the game kind of anticipates that you will have done some fiend challenges or picked up some extra healing like or health bar items. I've only gotten 3 health bar upgrades throughout this entire game, so my health is actually like really small compared to what the game like intends for you to have. So a lot of the enemies here do a ton of damage to me. Like, you see that, like, that's over half my health bar. So I gotta be really mindful of that. This is giving me a bad pattern. Just like with the electric worms, like, I don't want him to shoot. I want him to do that attack. But all in all, decent fight. I wish it didn't shoot me at all, but yeah. Now we have some more platforming. So this is on a timer. I gotta move quickly through here. No dilly-dallying allowed. And then
I think that's a pretty good general rule in speed running.
yeah, try to go as fast as possible. No dilly-dallying, for sure. So here I'm going to equip the lunar again because I'm going to use it for the final boss of this area. So I got the Eye of Fire, the Eye of Ice, you can, again, puzzles and things of 2s. So we open the door, big huge open space, lava on the floor. So this is one of those times where we're going to let Ryu embrace his love of the lava for this boss fight. So it's a big dragon. We're just gonna jump right into the lava. We're gonna try to hit it as much as possible. Okay, it gave me a really bad pattern there with the firewall and the fireballs immediately after. I tried to use an imbo to get out of it, but you know, it's okay though. We were able to take the boss down pretty quickly still. We did lose our talisman, but I do have a backup for that, so it's not that big a deal. So we're gonna use the lives of the 1,000 gods that we pick up, so now we have 4 health bar increases, and we're gonna equip Inazuma. We're gonna use Inazuma for a huge portion of the rest of the game. We'll swap back to one Nimpo like right at the very end, and that's about it. But we're coming up on chapter 13. This is called the Fiendish Awakening because after we beat Alma, there was like this little cutscene where Doku kidnaps Rachel and is trying to use Rachel to awaken Alma's like fiendish nature even more, to make her even more powerful. So that's what we're gonna go deal with in the Fiendish Awakening. So this is another like bigger movement chapter. We're gonna be actually going through a lot of areas that we've been to already in the game to get to where we need to go, and like a lot of the things that we've done throughout the game are gonna come together in this chapter, which is again one of the things I really love about this game is like everything in this game gets used. Like it's all like wraps around on itself for a purpose. This is a famous cutscene in the community. Everyone is like, "Where's Ryu?" all the time. I wish I could like talk like him though, but I can't. So we're back at the aqueducts and we're gonna try to get out of them as quickly as possible. Back the way we came. So if you remember where we came out, or when we got into the aqueducts, was right after the military base. There's like a little sewer entrance. We're gonna go back to that, and we'll be in Tehran. And then we'll have to move to Tehran again. I'm gonna kill these bats because something you notice, I'll kill bats whenever I go up a ladder. The bats, they can attack you while you're climbing up the ladder, and I've had them kill me. I've had them take my talisman. They are brutal. So I kill them whenever I go up a ladder, just as a rule of thumb. So this area looks familiar. We've been here before, and look, the drawbridge, it's back up. Like seriously guys, come on, I put it down twice. Can you leave it down, please? So this is the last time that we'll have to see this drawbridge cutscene. Not the last time I'll ever have to see it, but the last time we'll see it in this run. Alright, so these guys are kind of far away. Hopefully I can hit them all. Looks like I can. That's good. So this is my backup. If I kill these guys, they drop me a talisman. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I should have plenty of money, so I'm not too worried about using my double elixir either. So now we have the upgraded lunar, so now we can break walls like these ones. So we're just gonna smash on through that wall that's right there, and we have one more item that we're gonna pick up in this chapter, and it's going to be a tablet piece. Now I picked up 2 tablet pieces throughout the game. You never really want to forget picking them up, because if you do, they're not in very like convenient places to go. So we pick up the 3rd one here, and this is, as long as I have all 3, I'm good. Looks like I got all 3, so we're all set. Don't have to backtrack anywhere. So we put the tablets in and we activate the statue, which activates these like holes in the earth, which takes us back to the Hayabusa village. Dun dun dun. Back to the beginning where it all started. And I'm gonna pick up another Jewel of the Demon Seal. So this is like Ryu's village, and it's like a very somber area, very quiet. It's still, you know, damaged from the attack and everything that happened. So we're making our way through the village, and we're gonna go up to this graveyard. Now, at this graveyard, there's a grave site that belongs to one of Ryu's friends, who was the Dragon Shrine Handmaiden. And she has a little medallion that Ryu puts in the hilt of the dragon sword to turn it into the true dragon blade. The True Dragon Blade is one of the most powerful weapons in the game. It does a ton of damage. Gleaming Blade gets upgraded. It gets a whole brand new combo skill set as well. I'm gonna go ahead and save here. Very, very powerful weapon. Yeah, you'll see in just a little bit how much damage it can do. But we go through the portal and it takes us back to the fire cabin where we just were. And now we come to a new area. And this is the Awakened Alma fight. Now the first Alma fight is a huge RNG fest. So is this one. Alma can again just like kind of nope your attacks. So we have kind of a way where we can manipulate her. It's very different from the other Alma fight, and it's not as guaranteed. She can still just nope our attacks like that. Okay. Focus. Oh, come on. I'm gonna heal up here. Okay, this should be... Yep, she's dead. Whew. She can be really scary. She does a ton of damage to you. Let's switch back to the lunar for this part because it's going to be easier for the next little enemy fight that we're going to have. So that's the boss fight for this chapter, but this chapter doesn't end actually until we solve a puzzle. And part of the puzzle is we're going to have to clear 2 waves of enemies. These enemies are called pill bugs. They come out of the ground like that. They're super annoying. No one likes pill bugs. They're not like the cute little like insect that you play with as a kid. They have like this mean grab that they do, and they can jump on you while like one of them has you grabbed, and they're mean. Don't like them. So now 30 is the magic number for this fight. And they come in waves of 5, so I'm kind of just gonna wait for them to like that, and we just clear them out like that. Now there's actually a faster way to do it, but where we just spam Nimpo. It does require a little bit of RNG. The way I'm doing it is a lot less RNG dependent, and it gives me a lot of money at the same time, which is really nice because I just lost my talisman. Excuse me. So I'm just gonna Inazuma the first wave and then use the essence from each of them to charge a UT with the lunar to clear the next wave. See what I mean by when they jump at you.
And while you're doing that, I just have a quick update that it looks like in the Streets of Rage incentive, Axel has overtaken Blaze as the character, so that's the solid average movement character. So if you want to see the average speed, definitely, keep the donations coming in for that. If you want to see the faster or the slower, get those donations in.
How close are the other ones? Just curious.
So it is. It's currently at Axel has $25 towards it. Blaze has 20, and no love for Adam. So if you're all Adam fans out there, get some donations in. Any amount helps. Any amount at all.
So we finished solving the puzzle. Now we sit through this cutscene with the pyramid rising up, and we get access to another statue. So I mentioned the statues earlier. This is the 4th statue that we'll be picking up. There's only really 2 statues in the entire game that are quote-unquote missable. One statue is before we get the skull key, which is a required item, and the other statue is right before we fight Smaugin, which is that dragon. So this statue and the statue of the falcon, which is the very first statue we picked up, those are quote-unquote missable, because they're not required to unlock any doors or anything. So you could actually just like pass by them, not even realize you missed them, and move on to the final area and be like, oh, can't progress because you actually need those statues. So if you ever forget one of those 2 statues and you have to go back and get them, that's really painful. So we make sure that we pick them up. I have forgotten to pick them up a couple of times, and it was very sad each time I did that. So here we get introduced to a character. I'm going to skip the cutscene so you don't see him, but his name is Marbus. He's the king of the underworld. He is kind of like this deal with the bigger emperor. But he's trying to test us by sending all these fiends at us. And so we're just going to spam Inazuma. Like I said earlier, this is like the most powerful Ninpo in the game. You can see why. It just one-shots all these enemies. It does a huge AoE. Ryu's invincible like the entire time it's going. Very, very powerful. So we clear those enemies, and then we're going to do the last major shop of the game. I'm going to pick up a talisman. I'm going to make sure I have enough of these arrows. I'm going to buy some potions of healing, and we'll move on from there. So I'm going to re-equip the dragon sword, and we have, like, you notice like there's like this blue spirit that's been flying around. That's actually Doku. After we beat him and like before, his spirit escaped the rest of his body and he became a totally spiritual being. And he sent the worst possible enemy in any video game ever after us. There are no flaws to this game. But one of the things about it is, so there's these fish. They're called ghost fish. Now, originally when they were put into the game, they were just supposed to be a decorative piece. They weren't supposed to do anything. The director of the game was like, why do we have this enemy in the game that does nothing? Or like, why do we have like these things in the game that do nothing in an action game? We should make them do something. So the designer decided to make them the absolute worst pieces of crap ever. Or they can just grab you. So our secret technique to getting around them is to try to on-landing jump. That's the fastest way to get through them, using our iframes to on-landing jump. But they can, if they grab you, if enough of them are around, you can break out of their grab by like spamming analog stick and the face buttons. But they can still chain grab you in such a way where as you break from one, another one grabs you right away. And they can just keep doing that and take all your health and kill you. So they they are a pain in the butt. So the best way to deal with them is to try to do on-landing jumps, or that's the fastest way anyway. The safest way is to do what's called air destruction slash, which is that little spin slash Ryu does. I'll do that when going around corners and stuff, just because it's safer to jump around that way instead of getting on the wall like that. Get off the wall, Ryu. Ryu, I'm holding right. Go to the right. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm just gonna walk. He didn't want to jump to the side. He wanted to keep jumping into the wall. So I'm just gonna move around it and hope the fish don't grab me. So in this way, because I have to go up like this curve, I like to wall run and on landing jump off of it. And there we go. We made it past the ghost fish. I'm gonna heal one more time. And now we come to the boss fight. So this is actually one of the shorter chapters. Oh my, Reap, see what I mean when I say he likes to sometimes attack enemies instead of opening doors? That's one of the scariest places he can do that. The big crab enemies are brutal.
Yeah, so of course that'll happen during a marathon.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, it happens all the time. Ryu's just an idiot, to be honest. So this fight is Spirit Doku. Is very different from the other fight. We're gonna wait for him to charge at us, and then we're just gonna Gleaming Blade into him. He's gonna throw his sword right after. We're gonna move away. We're gonna wait for him to charge again, and then we're just gonna rinse repeat till he's dead. So 4 Gleaming Blades clear him out pretty quickly. And that's Doku down. So Doku's finally defeated, but as Doku's going through his death throes, he has one final spiteful move towards Ryu. He awakens Ryu's fiend blood, because Ryu is the blood of the dragon, which apparently is the same origins as the fiends. So Doku kind of has like this ability to tap into it a little bit. It doesn't fully turn Ryu into a fiend, but if he doesn't deal with it quickly, he will become a fiend. And as I mentioned earlier, the only cure for the fiend curse from a human soul is to kill it. So Ryu, not wanting to die like that, decides, yeah, no, I kind of want to deal with it. And he still has to get the Dark Dragon Blade back, which is in the hands of the Holy Vigor Emperor himself. So we got to go get it back. But first, before we can actually get into the palace, we need to open the gate. Now, I happen to know where the key is. Normally, you're supposed to like read a bunch of journals that these ninjas drop. It kind of tells you where things are and stuff, but I don't have time for that. So I grabbed that key, and we're gonna make our way to the final area. Now, this is the gauntlet that I mentioned much earlier in the run. This is what I've been preparing for the entire run, collecting all these items, getting ready for. This is the final test that Ryu has to face on his journey, and the question is whether or not he can overcome it. We're gonna try to find out. So the first part we're going to do is, before I do anything, I'm going to activate the Jewel of the Demon Seal to get myself level 3 in Inazuma. So this makes Inazuma even more powerful than it was before. It does a ton more damage. So remember these like red fiendish guys? They took like an Inferno and a little bit to kill. A single Inazuma now at level 3 will just one-shot them. So that's my plan through this area, just to wait for them to be about to spawn, charge the Inazuma, and hit them right as they come in. So that guy was rolling as he was spawning in, so he forgot to die. So I had to just slap him with the sword real quick to remind him that he was dead. So what I really want through these chapters as well are red Nimpo drops, so that I don't have to keep menuing. But it looks like I'm not getting any, which is fine. I have more than enough Nimpo items. So this floor has the red dinosaur fiend, the galas, and the pill bugs. So I want to wait in one spot because the red fiends will always spawn on the opposite side of Ryu, so I want to try to keep them close together as possible, because there is a distance on Inazuma. So I want to make sure that I can hit as many enemies as possible within that range. And 22 is the magic number I want to get, so perfect. It's very rare that I'll only ever have to use like 3 Nimpo to clear out 22 enemies in there. Usually like there'll be a stray pill bug or something. So I'm getting actually pretty decent luck on a lot of these things here. Just not on Ryu being smart. So here we have Imp Fiends and Crab Fiends. So we're gonna, Inazuma, I'm gonna stand in this corner so that I kill the first 2 waves of the imps, and then the second wave as they come in. And this, the Crab Fiends take 2 Inazuma shots, or 1 Inazuma and a couple hits with the Dragon Sword to kill. No matter what level, so. I was hoping to get a red there, but I didn't. That's okay. No! Okay, that's unfortunate. He spawned behind the pillar, so I couldn't see him. The crabs have like that one attack they can do where they grab you and they pull you through the floor. That's the worst thing ever. It's worse than the fish.
At least it's the worst thing ever in the best video game of all time.
Yeah, exactly. It's still the best thing ever, despite being the worst. Okay, I'm actually gonna heal here. Alright, so there's only 4 in this room, so we took them down. Yeah, no grabs. Yeah. The second time, which is good. I'm going to save here. I'm gonna pick up this elixir real quick, just in case. And we'll go through another gauntlet. So that's Marbus. As I mentioned, we saw him earlier. He's gonna throw some more fiends at us. We're just going to Inazuma spam again. We want to get red drops. That's what we're hoping for here. Marbus, in the intermediate parts, he's going to throw some bosses at us. Everyone's favorite Hydrocubus is back. We love Hydrocubus. Not really, he's kind of annoying. But similar strategy to the second one. We're just going to knock the tentacles down and use Gleaming Blade. This one does have a lot more health than the other ones, so just take a little bit more. And there we go. So now he's going to taunt us a little bit, and he's going to throw some more imps at us while shooting fireballs. But Inazuma protects us from the fireball, so we're alright with that. This last one, I want to save my Nimpo, so he's just 1, so I'm just going to kill him with the Dragon Sword. So now we have another repeat boss fight. This is Jotunfrau. She's back. She's got more health. She does more damage. But the strategy is the same. We're going to swap to Lunar. We're just going to jump up into the air and slap her in the face. I was about to say she was much nicer than the first one with no ice slams, but she had to give us the ice slams right at the end. I rarely ever get no ice slams on the second one. So now for Marbus, I do kind of need a little bit of focus for this fight. I'm gonna wait for a certain attack for him to do so that I can respond to it. Okay, so this is it. Second. Really hard fight, by the way. Alright, so that's Marvis. So his entire fight is RNG about whenever he does those fireballs into that slam attack, and yeah, we just put him into a loop. You can actually get stun looped by a lot of different weapons, but the Dragon Sword does the most damage, so it's the one we use. So here I'm going to switch to, oh, not those, to my APFSD arrows, which I bought earlier, so that I could do a really cool trick. I'm going to save before this, because we have a big boss fight coming. So this is the, without a doubt, the absolute longest chapter in the game. This gauntlet, there's a lot of boss fights, a lot of moving parts. Yeah, it's quite a doozy. So we try to get up these stairs as quickly as possible using our on-landing jumps. Something I didn't mention, I should mention now, whenever you're going up a slope, on-landing jumps are also the fastest movement. So this is the Holy Vigor Emperor. It starts off with Ryu being on like this little stone platform, and we gotta hit the Emperor a bunch of times of these segments. There's 3 segments: the 2 arms and the chest. So we're going to try to break all of the parts as quickly or when we can. Now, when the Emperor does the laser moves, there's like this little invisible wall that comes up. It can be really annoying, so I try to aim for that first. And after you break the second piece, you can actually charge and attack during the cutscene. But now we're gonna move on to the Skull Emperor, which just died. So that's a one-shot. That's really new. We discovered the one-shot of like several months back, but we didn't have a consistent way of doing it. But someone labbed it in an emulator, which barely works. But so shout out to them for sticking through that. If I could remember their name. But yeah, huge deal. It was awesome. And yeah, it saves about like 30-40 seconds, which, okay. Ryu, where are you aiming? Thank you. It's like he didn't want to move towards the wall. What are you doing, dude? Okay.
He saw that lava, so he just had to act up.
Yeah, he was like, oh man, that looks like good lava that I'm not in. I need to be in it. We don't want to go in this lava. That is not good lava. Oh my gosh, what is going on? Okay, thank you. Alright, you know what? I'm not gonna... Okay, alright. Well, thanks, Ryu.
Now, I know the word commentator's curse gets thrown around a lot, but I apologize for that one.
Yeah, that one's on you. No. There's a little like shortcut you can do there. I wasn't gonna go for it because he's being all screwy right now. And yeah, so then the jump was just a little short. That's okay. We just make our way back up. This is the final chapter in the game. There is going to be a boss fight, and as soon as I kill that boss fight, that'll be time. So just a heads up. I thought he was gonna jump off to the side again. Just like noticed the little graphical error back there, which was kind of like had my heart stop for a sec because I'd never seen that before, and I was like, oh, is that why going on? I don't know, but anyways,
another classic marathon thing.
Exactly. So there's Rachel. She helps us, pulls up out to the top, and we find Mirai has taken the Dark Dragon Blade for himself. instigated Ryu to go on this murder spree to awaken the Dark Dragon Blade from its slumber so that he could take the power for himself. So he's been a bad guy this whole time. Oh, I do have a talisman, so I'm not too concerned. But he is definitely the one of the hardest bosses in this game on this difficulty. He's very fast. Oh, I don't have any info. He does a lot of damage. His grabs come out of nowhere. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so he's almost dead though. Then he's dead. Time. Yeah, we try to save our talisman for him, and yeah, it's
Yeah,
that's
I can
why.
see why.
Yeah.
The sweaty fight, it looks like.
Oh yeah, he's brutal. He was very mean there. He does have every now and then he'll be nice and he'll just like AFK and just like kind of like not do anything. Those are my favorite. It's very, very rare that happens, but when it does happen, it feels nice. But yeah, so Ryu deciding to buck fate, destroys the Dark Dragon Blade, doesn't want to protect it anymore. Rachel and Ayane, who've been with him the whole time, looking on at his solemn moment, super action hero movie scene, you know, ending. And this is coming up as one of my favorite parts. Like, this is the absolute best, like, part. Let's get on the camera just for a sec.
It's over.
You know, Rachel reaches out to him and he's like, no. And he turns into a bird and flies away. Like, epic. Just epic. Like, and my real question is, this entire time Ryu could turn into a bird. How come he didn't do that? Like, it would have been really convenient in a lot of spots.
Yeah, like when you
Ryu's
fell
an
in the
idiot.
lava there, like Ryu,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Come on, just
Like,
turn into the bird.
turn into the bird and fly up. Why are you stuck down here? I don't get it, Ryu. Like, what's wrong with... Anyway, so yeah, that's Ninja Gaiden Black. Really cool game, really good community. I'm really glad I got to showcase it here at Speed Souls. It's pretty awesome. Definitely deserves to be amongst these kinds of games. It's a very difficult game, very fun game. I don't think Dark Souls would be where it's at actually without this game, to be honest, because this inspired a lot of action games of its time. But if you are interested in playing this game, Xbox only, unfortunately, but there is a PC version at Sigma. Check it out. And, yeah.